How to do it. Let me show you how to do it.
Hi guys, so in today's video we're going to be unboxing this Allen+Roth Davidson's. This is a semi-frameless shower door that I picked up from Lowe's, and we're going to be doing the installation in this video. I'm going to be showing it step by step. It does not come with a lot of good instructions, so stay tuned, and I'm going to be showing you how the installation is done. This is something you can pick up from Lowe's, and at a reasonable price. It's like $500 to $800 depending on the configuration that you get. But let's unbox it and see what's in there. Okay, so I have the glass door right here, and these are the two pieces that it came with. The one with the metal stripe is kind of like the fixed door. So let me show you exactly where it's going to go. The fixed panel is going to be on this side because we're going to be opening it from here. So this particular door can go either way. You can install it that the main door is, the entry door is on this side, or you can do it from this side. But in my case, it's going to be going in from here. So this is where I'm going to install the panel. And the very first thing you need to do before you put the panel is you need to install this rod right there. So this is kind of like the guide or the holder, and it goes in just like that. So you just have to get a leveler and measure it, and we'll see what the measurements are, because it has to be a specific measurement from the corner. And once you install this glass door will go inside there, and then we basically take this piece and then mount it at the bottom, and this side will hold the form glass, and this is going to be the sliding glass. So this tool will go in place. Now you notice, let's take the plastic off. Now you notice one of them that has a rubber thing. So this is for the fixed panel, which is going to be this guy. This is where it's going to sit with the rubber kind of groove. This is kind of like the sliding door, so that's why there's no rubber piece in there, just to keep in mind. And the screws will go in right here to hold it in place. Now, a couple of different parts in here that we're going to be using. These are the doors, handle, and this is kind of like the thing that goes, you install on the wall on the other side. So there is a rod. This is the rod, which is going to go on your fixed panel right here. And the rod basically holds this fixed door from the top, and then it screws in with this guy right there. It goes in like this, and it holds onto the wall. So this holds onto the other side of the wall, which is gonna be basically on this side. So once you have this installed, the glass panel is gonna come, the rod is gonna come all the way here, and then you're gonna mount that piece right there. So this specific length is adjustable, so you can cut it. It's a very thick metal, so but it is cuttable, so you can cut it to the desired length. So let's get to the installation. The very first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and mount that rod, not the rod, but that piece right there, and 3 holes that I need to drill, and then mount that, and then we're going to be putting the fixed glass panel. So the easiest way is take a tape measure and measure 1/1/8. There you go, you can see, and just put a mark there. And I know the pictures, the way they show it, it seems like, this is kind of like in the center, but it's not. So what you need to do is mark 1/1/8 inch, and take this and put that in the center of your mark, just like that. And this is where you're going to install the, let me make sure, so I'm doing it by one hand. There you go. So it's right in the center, 1/1/8 of this track, and this is where the glass is supposed to be going. So this is going to be the outside. because you do need some extra room inside because you're gonna have the sliding door. So this is gonna be the perfect measure. So now all I'm gonna do is put a leveler on the side, just make sure the track is nice and straight, and mark these holes with the Sharpie, and then we can go ahead and start it. So make sure you use this, and there you can see. Just move it to where it's nice and straight. Just make sure you don't lose your mark at the bottom, because it's very easy to make that mistake. Now, one thing you want to check is check the measurement as well. Make sure it is the same, because the leveler is not going to be, you may not be able to see it from a leveler, because now you can see everything is nice and straight. I put a Sharpie mark there. I did make Sharpie, you can see, and I draw a line right there. So now we can go ahead and remove this, and you'll see that I have a mark there, Sharpie, Sharpie, Sharpie over there, and now I can just drill holes where the dots are, and so come on this rail. Okay, you're probably wondering how I'm going to be drilling on the tiles. So it's a very easy process. This is a drill bit that is used, as you can see. This has a head, and this is a concrete drill bit. So a lot of people say you need a special drilling onto this, but there is a technique. So if you have these concrete drill bits with a lip like this, you can see, you can use these to drill a hole. What you need to do is just put it on a tile, and as you can see, I have marks right there. And what I did was I kind of broke the top porcelain using a hammer. And so what you need to do is just put it there, hammer it down, just make sure you have a good grip on it, and just hammer it. So that's what I did, and that makes this indentation, and it makes it a lot easier to drill hole, because now you can just just put it right there and start drilling. It's not going to slip off, because if you try to drill over here, it's going to keep slipping, and you definitely don't want to do that. So and now I'm going to go ahead and just drill it. Make sure you keep dipping this into water, because otherwise you're going to burn the tip. It gets really hot. So after you do a little bit, you know, make sure you dip it in the water and then do it. Okay, the whole drilling is complete, and you may get a little bit chip, but it's okay, because this is going to cover the rest of it, so not a big deal. One thing I do want to tell you guys is right here it says use 5/16. This is too big, guys. You know, I would not recommend using 5/16. You know, never had a good luck. Now, the kit comes with these big ones for 5/16, but too big. You know, I don't see a reason for you drilling, you know, this thick for this particular reason, because this is a tile. Even if you use a smaller one, it's going to grip it, it's going to hold it. So I'm using a little bit smaller. You know, what I did was, you definitely don't ever want to use this big of a drill to drill a hole, especially if you're using, if you're drilling into a tile. You want to go with a smaller one. So once you go with a smaller one, you can always go bigger later on, but if you do it big from the get-go, it's most likely you're going to end up being with a bigger hole than you really need. Because when you're drilling, your drill bit is never perfectly straight. You know, it moves a little bit, you know, makes the hole bigger. So don't use the 5/16. You know, I would recommend using it a quarter, you know, 1/4. That's what I used. And once I use the 1/4, you know, I just use these. These are a little bit bigger than for 1/4, you know, but once you drill it, then you can move around a little bit and then make room, and then this will go in. Another reason I did not want to use these, because these have these flat heads, and I don't really like these. I like to have something that will sit against the walls when I'm putting the screws in. At least you have this lip holding on to this, so it does not move or go inside, you know. The screws, these fit fine in there, so I don't see a reason, you know, for me not using these same screws. So this will hold, once it goes in, it's gonna hold in tight. And that's it. So I did all 3 of them. Okay, the installation is complete. This is nice and sturdy. All 3 screws are in, and just make sure they're nice and tight, they're not slipping, because if they're slipping, it's going to cause you issues. So nice and tight, and this is the final installation. And you can test your installation by making sure it's nice and straight, and you can see nice and level. And, perfect. So the dimensions are good. This is probably going to take the longest in the whole thing, and this is very critical. Next thing we need to do is take this piece, and we're going to put it right here, because this is going to go like this. And like I mentioned earlier, this is where the fixed glass is going to go, and it's going to align with this guy. And that's another reason that you need more room on the inside. So if you have a thinner piece right there, this glass probably not going to work for you. So it needs to have at least dimension that this tool can fit on there. So if you have a thinner wall, then this glass is probably not thin for you. Okay, the glass is in. So as you can see, I put it there, and what I did was I kind of moved this in, and it goes in, and I put a mark there, and I drilled it. So as you can see right there, and you want to make sure the measurement from either the inside to here or outside to here is the same. So I did do my measurements, and just make sure it's nice and flush from here. And when you drill your hole, just make sure to do it in the center, so you have flexibility to move it this way in case your hole is not aligned properly. And you definitely want to put some silicone in there, because over time the water can seep in through and cause water damage inside and things like that. So let's make sure, be cognizant of that. Since I have drilled my hole and this is in place, what I'm going to do is, you can either do this installation in one day, or if you really want to do it the right way, you may want to take 2 days and then do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put silicone. So today's Saturday, I'm off on the weekend, so I think I can wait. It's not a rush. It's my kid's bathroom, so I'm going to apply this, and then Sunday I'm going to come over and finish the rest of the installation. So I'm going to put caulking in there, let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I can finish it. So now, in case if you don't want to do that, you can just do it. You just have to make sure this thing don't move and you don't lose your measurements and things like that. But I want to take my time and do it the right way, so I'm going to put some silicone. You can put some shims there and make sure the glass is aligned properly. So you may want to put the leveler on top and make sure the glass is aligned, because sometimes the wall is crooked, so you don't want the glass to be crooked, So. Okay, so this is the silicone that I'm using, and it's a clear silicone. And what I did was I pushed it all the way in. I checked the level on top, it was nice and level. And then I had to put some shims, because my bot tip is not 100% even. So I want to make sure it's aligned properly, so I put shims there. And I put some shims under here, some plastic rubber shims, so it doesn't go bad. This is temporary, just to support it, and I'll remove it. And what I did was, as you can see, there's some gap, and I filled it up with silicone, because this is the perfect alignment for my glass, and it's straight. If I put it down all the way, then it's going to come out from here. Of course, it's going to lean a little bit like this, and it's not going to be a clean installation. So I got lucky that my wall was straight, so that's not an issue. If my wall was not straight, or if your wall is not straight, you can put shims over here and make the glass straight, but the main focus should be on the glass, that this should be nice and level, because if this is not level, your sliding door is going to be going either this way or that way, depending on where the level is, so it has to be perfectly even and level. So this is how I leveled my glass, and what I did was I put silicone, and I'm gonna just wait till tomorrow, so hopefully, by Sunday it's gonna be nice and dry, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put the rod and put the glass. And the very first thing you need to do is bring the other glass inside, before you even attempt to put the rod, because once you have the rod in, it's very difficult to bring the glass inside, especially with this installed in the way, and it just becomes much harder. And remember, your sliding door is going to be a lot more bigger than this one. I think it's like 2 inches or 3 inches more bigger than this one. So it's a little bit more heavier and bigger glass, and so I highly recommend put that together, put it inside. So once you put your rod, all you have to do is just pick it up and put it on the rod, and we have to do the installation over here as well. But anyways, I'm gonna just leave it, let it dry. Once it's dried out, I'm gonna remove that shim and fill it up with the remaining silicone, and then finish the installation. Another thing I did was I put silicone inside the screw as well. And the reason you want to do that is because over time the water is going to go in, and it can cause issues. But there's a cap that goes on top. I'm not putting that in right now because once it's dry tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the screw, and then I'm going to add some more silicone on top of this and just put the cap so no water goes inside and leaks or anything like that. So with that, let's come back. Okay, so today's Sunday and it's all nice and dry, the silicone that we applied yesterday. So next thing we need to do is install the rod on top. And for the rod installation, what you have to do is you have to connect this end piece, this piece right there, to the rod, because this side will be going to the wall. So the way this thing goes is there are 2 holes, and these holes should match the holes on the glass. Now what I've done is I have installed this piece right next to the other hole, as you can see. The reason I did that is because I want to hold this in such a way where I can cut it. So you don't want to be cutting it from there. You have to be cutting it from this end, which has no holes, because this end will be going onto that wall. So technically when I'm going to be installing it, the cut end will be on this side. So since my wall is a little bit smaller in size, so I can trim this piece, cut it, and then adjust, based on the distance from this wall to this wall. So again, just to recap, normally this glass this rod will go like this, and the end cap is not going to be over here. It's just temporary. I've installed it, but basically it's going to go in like this. It's going to go in like this. Those 2 holes will mount, and the end cap will be over there installed on the wall, and this piece will go in there. But since I'm cutting it, what I wanted to do is kind of flip it just so I have the right measurement, put it on the wall, and align it with these holes using the center hole, and kind of like just mark it where it's overlapping this piece, and then cut down this piece. So just make sure it's okay to cut a little bit bigger, because you can always cut more, but if you cut it too short, then it's not going to work out too well for you. So again, highly recommend when you're cutting it, just make sure, double check yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and make the cut from this end, and we'll come back and install the rod. Okay, so this is aluminum. It shouldn't be too bad to cut. And as you can see, I'm not cutting from the 2-hole side, I'm cutting from the other side, because this is the side that's going to go in the wall on that socket. So I did remove that, and cutting it from this side, because this side stays with the glass. So these holes should align perfectly on the glass, and this is where you cut it. Just make sure you cut it straight using a proper saw. Okay, so the rod is cut, and I just temporarily installed it, and this is a very critical process, so let me show you guys what exactly needs to be done. So we need to temporarily install this. Now, the way it comes, the hardware comes as like one piece, so you have to take the screw. The flattest screw goes inside here, the middle piece goes in between the rod and the glass, and then the final finishing piece goes on the back side. So you just want to put it together, hand tight it, and then snug it with this tool. This side is not drilled yet, because what we want to do is we want to make sure this is nice and straight, because As you can see, I mean, I can drill it right here, I can drill it right here, but you want to drill it completely perfectly in the center. So, because this thing is moving right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this up, push it back all the way. I do have some room right there. And there is plenty of room, you know, for you to move around. So even if you cut it a little bit short, you don't want to be right at the edge or anything because it's carrying a lot of weight for the glass. So a little bit like this is completely fine. Again, reminder, don't cut it from there. You want to cut it from this side. So I'm going to loosen that up. I'm going to mark, you know, with the Sharpie, and then I'm going to mount. I'm going to go ahead and have to remove this whole thing. I have to remove it. The reason you want to remove it is because you need to drill it, and then you have to mount the whole thing. So that's why it's important to remove it. The only reason I left it there is because I can put my mark there perfect. So when I'm putting everything together, it's nice and straight. All right. So let's go ahead and do some marking right there and do some drilling. I've made my marks. So the way I did it is I just made sure it's kind of loose, and it's just floating, just like you can see. And wherever it stops, that's where you make your mark. And it's nice and straight, so there is no stress on this. And this is the perfect place to put the mark. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove it and drill. Okay, so now you want to remove the rod and put this casing, and remove this from the rod. See, that's hold up by these two top screws. So I removed it, and now I'm going to put it there and mark the center hole so I can drill. So now just align where you put this, and then you can see I put 2 dots right in the center, and those are the drilling points that I'm going to be drilling. Just be careful when you're drilling. You don't want to go off those because that can definitely misalign this thing, which you don't want. So let's go ahead and drill. Okay, so this is installed, and the way you do it is you install the inside part first, and then you kind of screw it from top, this whole thing. And now they're ready to install the rod back on. Okay, so the very first thing you need to do before you install this rod is to bring your glass inside. This is a sliding glass. You want to go ahead and install this and loosen this guy. There's a screw on top that you can pull up all the way. Just not all the way to take it out, but this will drop down, and you need to do that on both sides. The rollers are going to be on this side. Make sure your door handle holes are on the right side, since I'm going to be opening it right from here. I have it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. This goes in the rod. Now let me show you the rod. Basically what I did was, this is not tight right now. It's hand tight. So basically what I did was I just slide it in that side, align the holes. And there are 3 pieces to it. There's one in the center. The flat finish is outside. And then the flat screw Allen key is on this side. So do this on all. Just make sure it's loose for right now. And once everything is nice, that's the only time you want to go ahead and tighten that up. So let me go ahead and tighten that, and that should be all it. Okay, so this is nice and tight now, and this is all installed. It's not going anywhere. And in fact, I didn't get a chance to finish this whole thing up, so today is the 3rd day, and I'm just going to go ahead and put the glass on. But remember, there was a wooden piece right there, so I removed that, and I also put silicone in there, filled it up so it's nice and filled up all the way at the bottom. Okay, the next thing we need to do is put these inside the track. The track is nicely bolted on this end. All this is tight, and so now we need to put it just like this. So the end is going to go like this. I need to make sure the Allen key side is this way, so kind of goes in like this. Don't flip it like this, otherwise you're going to be in trouble, because you want access to the Allen keys. So go in like this. And if for some reason you cannot put it through, you may want to loosen up the Allen keys. So the Allen keys the screws are a little bit outward, so that's what I'm gonna have to do. Okay, so this is it. You can see the Allen keys are right on the front. So it goes in like this. This will be the stopper towards the wall, and this will be the stopper towards the other side. Right here. So I'm gonna tighten this down a little bit because it's gonna be a stopper, and then we're gonna install the glass.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so this is the stopper, and I think right around here is good because you want at least this much. I want it to stop right there. There you go. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it a little bit up front. So because it's gonna travel this much further, so it's good enough. And you may have to test it out afterwards once we're done doing the full installation. Meaning, once you're done tightening these, because the bottom piece is gonna get stuck right there. All right, so now I think we're ready to go ahead and tighten this guy up from top. So as I'm tightening, it's pulling this thing upwards. So nice, snug. Okay, so this is tight. Let's do the bottom, the back one, I mean. Okay, so now this is done. Let's see. So since I'm gonna have to move this up a little bit. Just test it out. I think that's good enough. Let's make sure we tighten both of them. You don't want to over tighten this because it has plastic in there, so just enough so it does not move. If you want, and if you don't want it to ever get loose, you can put some silicone on there so it does not get loose or rusted out in the future. But this acts like a stopper. So if somebody were to slam it, you know, it has that flexibility. Just make sure you have even gap from both ends. Okay, all right. So now let's do the front. And this is on the front side. And now you can see, you may have to level the glass up a little bit because it's a little bit crooked, so we'll take care of that, but I think the stopper is pretty good here. We want to move it up just a little bit backwards. There you go. And just tighten both of them. All right. And now it's just a matter of installing the handle. This is not a big deal, it's just screws that goes in. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. if you're attempting to do this installation, I'm pretty sure you guys can handle this part. But that's pretty much it, guys. You can see how this thing stops. And you can just level it. And same thing over here. And the reason you guys hear the sound is this guy right there. So since we're going to be putting that plastic at the bottom, the sound is going to stop. So this is just a matter of cutting this to keep the water out. You just have to close it and cut it at the right length, and that's pretty much it. But that's it, guys. This is the installation of the glass, and you know, I wanted to show you guys the basic because it didn't really come with any instruction whatsoever. But guys, if you like the video, please subscribe to my channel and like the video. Thank you.